For years, Africa was often left out of the world's most exclusive gatherings, relegated to the sidelines as global decisions were made. The G7, the G20, these powerful forums always discussed issues impacting the continent, but rarely consulted those who understood them best, the African people themselves. These high-profile summits invariably happened in Europe or North America, far removed from the realities on the ground in Africa. Africa was often a topic of conversation, analyzed and debated, but not as a full and equal participant in shaping its own destiny. But in 2025, everything changes. A new chapter begins. The G20 Summit is coming to Johannesburg, South Africa, marking a pivotal moment in global affairs. This isn't just a new venue. It's more than just a change of scenery. It's a global power shift, a rebalancing of influence on the world stage. For the first time, Africa isn't just on the agenda as a subject to be discussed. It's hosting the conversation, leading the discussions, and setting the tone for the future. The world's leaders are coming not just for a photo opportunity or a safari, but because Africa's voice, its perspective, and its solutions are now absolutely essential to addressing global challenges. The continent is no longer just a land of potential. It's a rising power, a force to be reckoned with. Booming economies are driving growth, fueled by the youngest population on the planet, and a wave of tech innovation that's not just turning heads, but reshaping industries. The big questions, climate change, the future of digital currency, and global health security simply can't be effectively answered without Africa having a prominent seat at the table, contributing its unique insights and experiences. This is Africa's moment to not just participate, but to set the menu, not just take a seat, but to lead the conversation and shape the future. As jets begin to land in Johannesburg, carrying the weight of global expectations, the message is crystal clear. Africa is stepping confidently into the spotlight, ready to lead. The future isn't just something that's happening to Africa, a passive recipient of global trends. It's being actively shaped by Africa, by its ingenuity, its resilience, and its unwavering spirit. The world is finally catching up to what Africans have always known. The continent holds the key to unlocking a more sustainable and equitable future for all. The party is here, the energy is palpable, and Africa is undoubtedly the headline act, ready to captivate the world. This isn't just South Africa's moment to shine, it's a moment of pride and opportunity for the entire continent, a testament to African unity and collaboration. The doors are wide open, inviting the world to witness Africa's transformation, and the world is watching with bated breath. Get ready for a show like never before, a celebration of African excellence and a glimpse into the future of global leadership. G20 might sound like a tech gadget, a new phone, or some kind of software update, but in reality, it's the world's economic control room, a place where decisions are made that impact billions. It's 19 of the biggest economies on the planet, the powerhouses that drive global commerce, plus the EU, representing a unified European front. And now the African Union, bringing a whole new perspective to the table. Think of it as the Avengers for finance ministers, a team of economic superheroes. They steer global financial stability, ensuring the world economy doesn't go off the rails. They also focus on development, funding projects that lift communities and nations. And they set the rules that shape your daily life, often without you even realizing it. These countries represent a staggering 85% of global output, the goods and services the world relies on. They also account for 75% of trade, the flow of goods across borders. And they are home to 2/3 of humanity, a vast and diverse population. So, when they decide, the world feels it in ways both big and small. From your coffee price, which can fluctuate based on global economic trends, to your job prospects, which are directly linked to the health of the global economy. For decades, South Africa was the lone African voice within this powerful group. One country representing the interests of 1 billion people across a diverse continent. Now, with the African Union as a permanent member, the continent has a stronger, more unified voice. And with the summit hosted in Johannesburg, Africa is taking center stage. Africa finally gets to set the agenda, shaping the global conversation on key issues. Hosting isn't just about logistics, the planning and execution of a major event. It's about power, the ability to influence decisions and shape the future. South Africa can now put African priorities, the needs and aspirations of the continent, front and center, ensuring they are heard and addressed on the world stage. This is a chance to shift the conversation, to change the narrative around Africa. From being lectured about debt, constantly reminded of financial burdens, to leading on financial reform, offering innovative solutions to global economic challenges. The world's economic architects are finally realizing a crucial truth. You can't build the future, a sustainable and prosperous global economy, without Africa. The G20 in Africa isn't just overdue, a long-awaited recognition of the continent's importance. It's transformative, a catalyst for change and a new era of global cooperation. The continent is no longer a blind spot, an overlooked region on the global map. It's the new center of gravity, a driving force shaping the future of the world. Why is Africa suddenly in the global spotlight? What's driving this surge of international attention? Because the numbers are impossible to ignore. The continent's demographic boom is reshaping the world as we know it. By 2050, 1 in 4 people on Earth will be African, a testament to the continent's vibrant and growing population. A massive market and workforce, brimming with potential and ready to contribute to the global economy. The narrative has shifted from poverty to potential, a transformation fueled by innovation and resilience. Africa is now a magnet for global investment, attracting capital and partnerships from across the globe. It's home to some of the world's fastest-growing economies, showcasing dynamic growth and entrepreneurial spirit. And a treasure trove of resources, a wealth of natural assets that are vital to the global economy. Cobalt, platinum, bauxite, and more, all essential for powering the technologies of tomorrow. For centuries, these riches left the continent, often exploited with little benefit to local communities. Now, African leaders demand value-added industries and jobs at home, seeking to harness their resources for the benefit of their people. Africa's voice is also louder on global issues, advocating for its interests and shaping international policy. On climate, African nations are demanding justice, highlighting the disproportionate impact of climate change on their communities. They pollute least but suffer most, bearing the brunt of environmental degradation, despite contributing the least to the problem. And they want real compensation, not charity, demanding meaningful financial support to adapt to the changing climate. They're pushing to reform global institutions like the World Bank and IMF, advocating for fairer lending practices and governance structures, arguing for a system that fits today's world, one that reflects the realities of a multipolar global order. This isn't just talk, it's coordinated action, a unified front to advance the continent's interests on the world stage. Africa is leveraging its people, resources, and moral authority to reshape global rules, advocating for a more just and equitable international order. The G20 Summit in Johannesburg is the perfect stage, a platform to showcase Africa's potential and leadership. Africa isn't asking for a handout, it's demanding a seat at the head of the table, asserting its right to shape the future of the world. The continent is emerging as a geopolitical force, wielding increasing influence in international affairs. Not just a collection of countries, but a unified bloc with shared goals and aspirations. The world needs Africa's resources, markets, and leadership to address the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. The evidence is clear, and the world is finally listening, recognizing the continent's growing importance and influence. This is Africa's time to lead, to shape its own destiny and contribute to a better world for all. The receipts are on the table, the data speaks for itself, and the world is ready to witness Africa's rise. A United States of Africa is still a dream, but Pan-African diplomacy is real and growing. The African Union's G20 seat was a hard-won victory, showing new unity and influence. Leaders like Nigeria's and Kenya's are shaping global tech and climate policy, not just following. Egypt is leveraging its position to put African priorities on the world stage. African nations are forming voting blocs and coordinating before negotiating with global powers. The Johannesburg G20 is a platform for this unified voice. Africa's agenda: debt restructuring, fair trade, and a bigger say in global institutions. The continent isn't waiting for an invitation, it's building its own table. America's relationship with Africa is evolving from aid and counterterrorism to real partnership. The U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit signaled a new approach: investment, respect, and support for Africa's G20 role. High-level U.S. officials are visiting more African countries, signaling a desire for deeper ties. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, gives African exports duty-free access, is up for renewal in 2025 right as the G20 meets. African leaders want a longer, better deal that supports manufacturing, not just raw exports. This is no longer a one-way street. Africa has options and leverage. The U.S. is listening because it must. Africa's middle class, green energy resources, and unified positions matter. The relationship is shifting from patronage to partnership. The G20 Summit will showcase this new dynamic. Africa is negotiating as an equal, not a junior partner. The stakes are high for both sides. The world is watching how America responds. The future of U.S.-Africa relations is being written now. The 21st century isn't about the scramble for Africa. It's the wooing of Africa. Superpowers are competing for Africa's partnership, but this time, African countries have agency. China builds infrastructure, offering loans with few strings. It's now Africa's top trading partner. Russia offers security and political support, appealing to some governments. The U.S. is back, pushing transparent investment and democracy. African nations aren't forced to pick sides. They work with everyone. They can get a port from China, tech from the U.S., and security from Europe. This multi-alignment gives Africa leverage. The world's powers are competing for Africa's attention, and Africa is in control. Africa enters the G20 with unmatched leverage resources, youth, and innovation. The green energy transition depends on African minerals, cobalt, lithium, manganese. But Africa's greatest asset is its people, the world's youngest, most dynamic population. While other regions age, Africa's youth are driving a digital revolution. Mobile money, fintech, and tech hubs in Lagos, Nairobi, and Cape Town are solving African problems and exporting solutions globally. These strengths let Africa demand investment in local industries, better climate finance, and fairer trade. Africa is no longer just a supplier or aid recipient. It's a strategic partner with what the world needs. The continent's leaders are ready to make a deal. The future workforce and innovation engine is here. Africa's hand at the table is stronger than ever. The G20 Summit in Johannesburg isn't just another meeting, it's Africa's global debut. The continent is now a main character, shaping the world's future. Africa brings economic power, a booming youth population, and diplomatic confidence. Leaders arrive with a business case for a fairer, more prosperous global system. Global policies on climate, trade, and tech will now be co-authored by African nations. The world is moving toward a multipolar order, and Africa is a new center of power. This isn't about charity, it's about recognizing Africa's indispensable role. The decisions made here will ripple worldwide. Africa's G20 moment is a declaration the continent is ready to lead. The main character has entered the chat, and the conversation will never be the same.